Hi, I'm Georgia Raisman. I'm on Front Up today with Greg Margolis,
Hi.
one of my favorite culinary people.
Oh, thanks.
And the co-owner with his wife Joy of Nantucket Culinary Center, which has been a fabulous addition to Nantucket's downtown and to Nantucket's
and the
culinary
Corner Table
scene.
Cafe too.
And the Corner Table Cafe. There's a really helpful addition. I think
Thanks.
Corner Table Cafe, having a place to go after the movies or late in the day for coffee where you don't have to drink, what a nice thing. It's fabulous.
We think so. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
It's great. And you can tell because it's so well attended. Early in the morning, late at night. It's really great. So, Greg, I'm so happy you came in today because I'd like you to tell us a little bit about, well, maybe backing up and starting at the beginning. You and Joy were on island even before Corner Table and the Culinary Center came into being. So what were you doing then?
We moved here in, I think, 2005.
And you had been trained at the Culinary Institute of America?
I did. I went to the CIA. I graduated from the CIA in January 2000. And
did you know Joy then, or was that later?
we met right before I graduated. She was living in the area. So she didn't go to school with me or anything, but she lived in the area. And we met there, and we moved out to Colorado together, and we lived out there for a while, and then we moved here. We moved to Nantucket in 2005.
Had you been to Nantucket before then?
No, she had though. She had some experience here, and my college roommate had been working here seasonally for 4 or 5 years. Since we graduated from college, he did seasonal work on Nantucket for those 5 years. I worked in Colorado, and I was looking for something different. He was leaving, giving up his job at the Wawinnet, and he said, this might be great for you. So that would have been 2004, end of season 2004. I flew out here and interviewed for his job for the AM sous chef position at Topper's Restaurant, and I took it, and I went back to Colorado for that winter, and then moved out here in spring of 2005.
That's a great experience, being even sous chef at Wawinnet.
Yeah, no, I was at Topper's for 3 years. I did 2 years as the AM sous chef, and I did my 3rd year there as a dining room manager, and I did group sales for him, and stayed on throughout the winter, most of the winter with him my final year there, and learned a great deal. It's a wonderful company.
Covering all areas of the restaurant management.
Yeah, always. I always usually go back and forth from cooking into front of the house, and
that's interesting.
Kind of it's prepared me well for what I do now, which is cooking in front of people.
So then you and Joy were here and living and working as in the restaurant industry. But what happened to bring you to the Culinary Center and the Corner Table?
What happened? I went out on my own. I decided to start my own business. I started my own business as a private chef, and I did small catering, kind of guerrilla catering out of my basement.
Guerrilla catering.
Well, I didn't have a catering license, and I was still catering and doing private chef work, and it was, so if I call it guerrilla catering, I guess I think it's something that a lot of chefs go through as you're trying to develop a business. And it was going well. I was bartending during the day, I was being a carpenter in the wintertime, and I was cooking at night and on the weekends, and I had a good amount of clients. We started to look for the next step for our business. Right now, or at that point, my business consisted of me, a laptop computer, some knives, cutting boards, a couple of chef coats, and a few business cards. And from there, it developed into something that we thought we could grow. And as we started to look for a commissary, a kitchen, someplace to grow the catering company, then we found out that Remain was looking for operators. They were looking for someone to take the lease on their new project. So the building, is a Remain property, and which is why it's so incredible. Every detail.
Beautiful building.
Yeah.
So tell us about what they built in that building. Did you have input into what they were building? Or?
Yeah, we had input into the stuff that mattered most to me and to us. To the operational parts of it, but. The building was designed, the interior decorating was done by the Looms, and it was like their first commercial project, and it was really, really beautiful, and they had wonderful kitchen design firm out of New York and architects both locally and in Boston. And the building is really, really complicated. There's there's 4 different commercial air handling systems within the building, which is 3 more than most restaurants have. So it has just a lot of moving parts. It has a lot of HVAC issues. So the building, that much air going out, you have to have air coming in. The air that's coming in has to be conditioned or heated depending on the season because the amount of air that moves. And there's a lot of really complicated things. So that wasn't my forte, and making it beautiful wasn't really me either. But we got to talk about the type of equipment, the location of the equipment, the orientation of things, and pretty much everything from the operational side. But the building and construction had already been approved and begun before Remain put out their recommendation for proposal, where they, where we could submit a business plan of the performer, and it was a competitive bidding process to be awarded the lease in the building, and they had lots of different people, I guess, applying for it, and over a month or two of interviews and further questions, we were selected to receive the lease. So we have a wonderful partnership with our landlord, who is Remain, and they've been quintessential. They've been amazing. They're the best landlord you could have. But the businesses are all us. It's still a small mom and pop business, and we're just really fortunate. There's no way that we could afford a fair market lease. So the fact that we have a lease on the building that's under market, and great support from Remain makes it possible for us to operate the type of business that we do. And that's what Remain's purpose is. They don't feel that we need more art galleries or insurance places or things like that. So
T-shirt shops.
Yeah, but there's some caveats in the lease. It's a really creative lease with Remain, and we're committed to all the things that they were looking for. It was really a serendipitous meeting that they found us and that we found them.
So the programs that you give, I noticed first off you did a lot of things with kids this summer.
Definitely.
And that looked like a huge amount of fun. Were they well attended? Was that well received?
Yes, kids were well attended, well received, I think.
And what were you teaching them or showing them, or how did?
So it's not always me. Although I do the majority of the events through the Nantucket Culinary Center. We had a couple of great chefs working with us throughout the season who maintained most of the kids' classes. But we had two different groups. So we had like the 4 to 9-year-olds and the 10 to 14-year-olds. The young kids mostly just played. They made Play-Doh, or they made other doughs, and they made pizza or cookies or things that are really simple, and they use a lot of arts and crafts, and they carve things to look like other things. They made potato stamps, and really just kept them busy, kept them fun, gave them snacks, And then the older kids did a pretty wide selection of classes. I think they had something like 10 or 12 classes that rotated throughout, so kids could come for 2 weeks at a time and not repeat the same class. But everything from making pâte à choux, like eclair dough and things like that, making full apple pies from scratch, making the pie dough, making after-school snacks, showing them how to make things like hummus and baba ganoush.
So you could really inspire somebody in that age group.
I hope so, and there was. There were some kids who really enjoyed it, who really came back, and one of the kids who was there kind of towards the end of the summer came to every single class and liked it so much, and he wanted to introduce his own class. He was an avid cook at home. The kid's 10 years old, 12 years old maybe, and he wanted to teach a Mexican class. So we told him, if you want to, tell us what you want to do. And he prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and this 12-year-old kid. And so we let him take over a class and made tortillas from scratch and made salsa and guacamole and made tacos. And
Oh, excellent! So someday he'll be opening a restaurant in Boston. He'll be interviewed on Boston TV.
You never know.
His roots are on here in the Culinary Center. That's exciting. And you do a lot of chef dinners where people like Sarah Lee Chase lead those. Tell us what those are about.
So we love to collaborate, and there's a great tradition in every kitchen worth their salt. Where you're always learning and you're always teaching. However many people are in the kitchen, there's always somebody you can learn from and somebody you can teach to. So we continue that tradition by bringing in as many great chefs as we can. We're very fortunate to be located on Nantucket, where people like to come anyway.
Like to come, right?
I think Sarah, specifically Sarah Leah Chase, who is a local legend on Nantucket, loves having the opportunity to come back here and to see her old friends and do her events, because she's moved over to Barnstable Village on the Cape, and I think she loves coming here. We love having her. She's been a great supporter of ours, and so for example,
it's like
I think
demonstration.
It's a live demonstration. We have a couple different styles of kitchen. So we have the demonstration kitchen, which is like a stage kitchen where you sit and you watch and you can see everything. We've got a camera pointed right down at the stove, and you can see that on the monitor. And that's where Sarah likes to work, in the demonstration kitchen, where everybody's just kind of watching her, and she's putting on her show and telling stories and talking about the food. And that's what she'll be doing tonight. We're having a class with her, and we've got all the, she and I work together to make sure she has all the produce and all the stuff that she needs, and I work to help her get prepped up, or give her an employee to help her out, and they drink a lot of rosé, and they have a great time, and everyone loves it. We also have been fortunate to have a lot of other great chefs and cookbook authors during Book Festival and things like that who've come through and just been wonderful. A lot of times we do have demonstrations, and then also upstairs we have our interactive teaching kitchen. So it's another floor full of 2 different kitchens and a private dining room, and we do a lot of private events up there. One of the things that we've really enjoyed this year has been these private family classes. So we'll get a group of 12 or 15 people, and it's usually 3 generations. So you've got parents and grandparents and children, and we work together to do an item or 2, or they do a little demonstration with me, and then they sit down in a private dining room and have a great dinner experience. We really provide that kind of the dinner party
And
experience.
you do the dinner parties all year round too. I've been to a
Yeah,
couple
we'll
in
do
the
anything
off-season.
all year round,
Yeah.
whatever gets people in. We do open mic night in the wintertime, one night a
Yeah,
week, and it's
yeah.
always well attended. We've been doing
trivia
trivia
nights.
night has been
Those
great,
are-
although we
that's
lost our
fun.
MC this year, so we have to
Yeah,
find a
I
new
know,
MC.
I know.
And I think this night I got in the works maybe a game night for adults
Mm-hmm.
and children alike, but there's a lot of there's a whole new generation of board games and card games
Right.
and stuff that people are doing, and I found a game enthusiast, so I'm trying to talk into hosting it. So, anything we can do to get people in there. It's really, really a point of pride for us, so we can get that place full of people in the wintertime. Have the lights on and have people coming into town.
Yeah.
It's part of our purpose. It's part of our work we do with Remain to try to keep downtown Nantucket viable year round, and we feel really proud of the work that we're doing.
Yeah, I think it seems to me that you're doing it. It seems like there's always something happening
We
there.
certainly-
and it always
we certainly
seems
are
to be-
trying, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be very well attended. Next week you're doing, I think, a Thai.
So next week we have
And an
Kwan,
Indian.
who is this
Yeah,
wonderful, soft-spoken, incredibly talented artist, and she does private chef work throughout the island. And we have kids in school together, and she is just a fantastic Thai chef. She has incredible authenticity, stuff that I I pay attention and I read and I go out to eat, and she still blows my mind every time with new stuff. So she's got a great following. Her classes are well attended. She'll be in the demonstration floor.
And does she get all of her? I noticed you source almost all your ingredients locally. The list of your partners is fabulous.
We try our best.
Yeah.
There's still
I
a lot of
guess some
stuff you
things, yeah.
can't get here, and stuff we can't get in the volume that we need it, but we do our best to support everybody that we can.
And she's going to be doing Thai cooking, and will she be able to? Well, she'll have all of the ingredients.
a
she
lot
can
of that,
off
a lot of the
island.
stuff she goes off island. Every once in a
Yeah.
while goes to Chinatown and gets a lot of the hard to get stuff. Otherwise, you can source a lot of Chinatown stuff through Nantucket Seafood, Ted Jensen's place. He gets a shipment from Chinatown every week, so if you need something,
really?
he's pretty good about that. Otherwise, through the purveyors that we have locally and through Amazon, sometimes if need be.
And then you're doing an Indian restaurant.
We do. We call it Cooking from the Book,
Mm-hmm.
where we get a chance to. I love cookbooks. I always have,
Mm-hmm.
and I buy a lot of them, and I like to look through them. And so we do events based on cookbooks. We did one last week from a cookbook called Dinner at the Long Table, which is from a restaurant group in Brooklyn. They just do really amazing stuff, and their cookbook is really great. So it's fun for me to go through the cookbook, pick my favorites, and then execute it. I cook every day, all day long. So to get a chance to cook somebody else's food is really fun. It's the same reason that chefs like to go and stage in other kitchens to get to see something different. So this is just kind of my own, self-indulgent exercise in learning to cook better and different things. And a lot of times, like for instance, the Indian one that's coming up next week is from a restaurant in D.C., a place called Rasika, and it's one of the great Indian restaurants in the country, and one of the first kind of high-end fine dining Indian restaurants. And this is the first time that they've written a cookbook. They wrote it last year, and I just thought it was great. I got the cookbook. I really enjoyed it. I went down to D.C. and had a chance to dine at the restaurant, and then I have a good time cooking the food from it. And I love Indian food. It's not something that's readily available. Shangri-La Kitchen has done a great job of doing some Indian food here on the island. But it's something, when we go off island, ethnic food is what we crave. So when we're doing different stuff, a lot of times we'll do the ethnic food as well.
I noticed on the website, which is a great website, by the way, and people should look at it because there's so much information.
Definitely looking at the website.
And the calendar is useful and what's coming up. I noticed there's something called the Interactive Dinner. Those are not, you're hosting them but not sponsoring them or something like that. What are they? It looks like it's a very different kind of event.
I'm not too sure what you're talking about.
So
I don't look at my website
Look
enough.
at your website.
Yeah.
There's something called Interactive Dinner, which promises to be an immersive, site-specific.
So this is something that's coming up now with
very complicated.
It is very complicated. It's a group of these incredibly creative guys who approached us. This is going to be a 4 nights only. They are selling tickets through them, and we're calling it the Feast. There's a link through our website, right?
Yeah.
So because I don't know their website, I'm sorry if people want to check it out. But they have gotten this grant to do this really interesting production piece, and they've been on Nantucket. This is the first time they're executing it in its full entirety. They've been on Nantucket for at least a month or so, and they were here earlier in the summer, and they interviewed purveyors, and they talked to people, and they recorded everything with these special microphones, so you hear the cars going behind you, and you hear the birds chirping above you, and
the waves as you're collecting
depending on where they are, right?
Yeah.
Because they're out with the oyster farmer,
yeah.
They're out with the egg farmer, they're out on the farm with Andrew, who's a farmer at Bartlett Farm, and they're eating things in the field, and they're recording all this, both audio and video, and they have this custom table, which is like 5 flat screen TVs, and it's flat on the table. So the guests who are going to come are going to get earphones, headphones, and they're going to have this curated experience directed by videographers and sound engineers, and these guys have put together this incredibly creative thing. It's going to be complemented by food at different times. They're going to have directions on what to do and things to move, and they're going to get oysters either in a plate or floated on their hand, and the screen they filmed all this stuff with like drones. So like when you're eating I don't want to give away too much, but there's like the whole table turns into a beehive. There's bees fluttering all around on the screens, and I can't wait to see it. I mean, I've only seen a couple little snippets and pictures and heard some of the audio, but it's a very different thing.
Well,
and this is their first time doing it. I think they're going to bring it to other markets in the future.
Well, one of the things I love is the fact that the Culinary Center is open to so many amazing different experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are on a little island far out to sea, and having the ability to talk about Indian and Thai and seafood and immersive culinary experiences. And what a great imagination you guys have, you enjoy. And
we're also, like you said, we're open to a lot of other people. So we have a great imagination for sure, but we're also really happy to help other people, realize some of their imagination as well. We feel really blessed to have the opportunity to have this space, and we try to pay it forward whenever we can.
And I hope you get a little time off with your kids. You have 2 young children.
I do.
And you're raising a family on Nantucket, which is a lovely place to raise a family. Do you get to spend any time with them?
It's currently the end of August. I haven't spent a lot of time with them recently, but
We hope to in the near future.
I hope to. I am in a period in my life where I feel it's appropriate to work very hard.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future I won't have to work so hard. Yeah. That's the dream, but I don't foresee a way to achieve that without the hard work that we're putting in now. So I see my kids every morning and most evenings, and we're not every morning, but we talk about it quite a bit, and they give me guilt trips sometimes, but the time that I do spend with them, we try to make it quality. So.
Yeah. Well, this is it's such an important addition to the community and downtown. It's just this unequaled, and I'm so happy that they gave you that contract and that you are doing it so fabulously. So thank you for coming here and telling us about it. And
my pleasure.
I hope to be seeing you a lot in the ensuing few weeks and over the winter.
We'll be there all winter long.
So great that you're there.
All
Thanks,
right, thank
Greg.
you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.